Okay, this is case 1 from chapter 17 on process costing. And I hope this is big enough for you, okay? Yeah, the key with process costing is to have a process that you go through and stick to it, okay? So that you set things up the same way and you know what you're doing and just keep repeating that process. And this is the information from the book, and the first case has 0 beginning inventory. Okay, so our work in process and beginning is 0. We must be just starting up. And we started 400 units during the year, so we've got 400 units to trace around, and they either went out the door or they're in work in process. That's where they are. So we completed and transferred out 175 units, and if they were transferred out, then they're 100% complete for materials and 100% complete for conversion. Okay? So then work in process ending would be 400 minus 175, or 225, and they tell us that like maybe the material was all added at the beginning of the process, so that 225 is 225 units are 100% complete for materials, and then it's 60% complete for conversion. Okay, so I kind of crossed it out. That's 60% complete for conversion. So you would take the 225 times 60%, and that would give you 135 equivalent units. Okay? All right, so then we've accounted for our units, and the equivalent units of work done in the period then would be direct materials of 400, and conversion costs are 175 is complete, and then 135 partial units, so 310. Okay, so let's look at how we're going to do this. Our goal, it's important to understand, your goal is to assign the cost. Okay, what was the value of what was completed and transferred out? And what's the value in ending inventory? Okay, that's what's important. So the first thing we want to do is, you won't always have a nice format like that's already done for you. Sometimes the information will come in paragraph form, so you need a structure, and the one that I use is this one. Okay, what's cost? I'm going to start right here. Our beginning inventory in this case is 0, right? Sorry. Beginning inventory is 0, so 0 units, and naturally nothing for materials or conversion. And during the period, they started 400 units. Okay, so we have 400 units to account for. Okay, that's the first thing that you do, is figure out how many you've got to, like, make sure that you figure out where they went. Okay, and we know that they completed and transferred 175 units, and we're figuring out our equivalent units now. So that would have been, the ones that are completed and transferred would have been 100% complete for material and 100% complete for conversion. Okay, and then ending inventory was 100% complete for materials and 60% for conversion. So I would say we're talking about 225 units. Okay. So we've accounted for the whole 400. That's what's good to know. And they would have been 100% complete for materials, and conversion it would have been 225 times 60%, or 135 units. So I've got 400 equivalent units here, and 310 for conversion. Okay. No, we don't have to worry about beginning work in process here, so just stop here. This is just an overall, the beginning, okay? It gets more complicated, but we'll start here. So now we put in how much cost we know. And we know that we had no beginning inventory, so there's no beginning inventory cost. Cost added this period. They added $32,000 in material and $18,600 for conversion. Okay, so for a total of $50,600. Now the key with this is that's our total cost to account for. We've got to make sure that the total amount that we assign is equal to that $50,600. Okay, that's that's what you need to just to make sure. And if you've got an error in here, it'll show up because those numbers won't be equal, which in some ways is kind of handy. Now our cost per equivalent unit, we figured this out. Oh no, we're going to take 32,000 and divide it by our total equivalent units, which is 400 and 310, and that gives us a cost per equivalent unit of $80 for material and $60 for conversion, for a total of $140. $140 per unit. So, first thing we can do is figure out what's been completed and transferred. Let's take this out of here. This is really set up for FIFO too, which is, once it's in your head, it's in your head, but we won't start that way. So completed and transferred is 175 units times $140 each. Okay, so what went out the door was inventory valued at $24,500. Okay. So that's what was completed, $24,500. And then ending inventory, I've got direct material, and just this one line we're looking at. We can't see it. Okay, we'll go up here to ending inventory, the 225 and the 135. So direct material is 225, and ending inventory times $80 per unit. Okay, that gives us 18,000. And for conversion, we've got 135 equivalent units, 135 times $60 per unit, 8,100. So for a total of 26,100. And then I add my 24,500 and the 26,100, and I get 50,600. So I've assigned all the cost. Okay, so if you look at the process, just simply, okay, units to account for. Okay, that's really your first step. Then calculate your equivalent units. Then figure out, well, how much cost went in the system. Divide the cost by the equivalent units to get a cost per equivalent unit, and then assign the cost. And you assign it to what's been completed and transferred and what's sitting in ending inventory. Okay? All right.